welcome back. Today we're going to talk briefly about the Lelandais clarinet mouthpiece. Here's mine. So a very nice mouthpiece, has a nice internal design, nice throat. Yeah, I've had this for I don't remember how long, several decades. Anyways, I don't have any, I thought I had a web page about it and review on my website, but I didn't. So we're going to look at a couple other people's information about it, and we're going to get right to that. So I'm going to go to Brad Behn's website. I haven't asked him about this, but anyways, he's been in the clarinet industry for decades, has excellent mouthpieces. I've tried them in the past. His website is clarinetmouthpiece.com. I'll put it in the description here. We're going to look at his website real quickly, just review a few things. He has a nice article about it. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at Brad's website, clarinetmouthpiece.com. And he actually has one for sale. I just want to review this with you. He says the voice of this mouthpiece, at least the one that he's refaced or two, is chocolatey with a refined concentration to the sound, projects with fullness and grace. His voice easily carries to the back of the hall and very quickly respond. Some background information about this. Lelandais was purchased by Chedeville Company in the later 1940s, or they purchased the Chedeville Company in the later 1940s following the war, and continued their mouthpiece making. Lelandais brand commingled, and oftentimes one would see either the representation of the same blank. Lelandais trademarked the blanks with logo, quality superior, representing the era, the rubber, and the quality of the blank in question. Logo to the right of the table. Then the Gladden Company acquired the Chedeville brand. But he also has a good article here. But I found this other website, jofwoodwinds.com. He has an article by Brad Behn and Ramon Wodkowski. Ramon Wodkowski actually grew up near me here in Detroit, and he moved to the UK and he learned all about mouthpiece refacing from the experts out there. He ended up starting his own business. He sells mouthpieces online, and he ended up moving back to the US in Ann Arbor, actually fairly close to me. On my website, if you look at the B&H, the Bosie and Hawks website, the serial number list is from him, and I have other information from him with B&H, like some old mouthpiece mapping stuff and some other B&H information from him. I need to go visit him in Ann Arbor. He's fairly close. He's in my alma mater, University of Michigan. Anyways, let's get to this article real quickly. So the golden era of French clarinet mouthpiece construction was really developed in the 1920s and 30s. You have a lot of grade A rod rubber at that time, you know, with the Chedeville and Lelandais companies, along with the Selmer, Buffet, LeBlanc, and Dorn factories. So the history here, Charles Henry Chedeville and Albert Lelandais, that's what the A is on the mouthpiece. They learned their crafting from Eugene Bercioux. I can never pronounce French names, so take it as is. And I'm going to call him Eugene because I can't pronounce his last name. He basically developed construction and machines for facing mouthpieces for large-scale manufacturing. See, new information about that, huh? And he was influential in designing both the woodwind and the mellophone companies in the 20s. That I never knew about. In the 20s, he actually lived in America. So the woodwind company had a mellophone brand or model of mouthpieces. I think they're primarily for saxophone. But the woodwind, I have a video about the woodwind mouthpieces. I'll put that in the end of the video with a link to it. Of course, Chedeville, their factory in Paris, France, founded by Charles Chedeville in 1924. It was the forefront of acoustics and the scientific development of mouthpieces, and became the benchmark in mouthpiece design. His cousin Henry Chedeville was a woodwind repairman and mouthpiece designer, and Henry moved from France to New York in the early 1900s. That's kind of like Alexander Selmer, huh? Where he earned employment with Selmer. Ironic. Later, he moved to Philadelphia and opened his own shop where he serves air musicians repair service. And he was an importer of Chedeville mouthpieces from France. He obtained the Chedeville blanks for his own, and he would sell them to American companies such as Bedini, Bonade, and Casper. So that gives you some background of those older mouthpieces there, where those blanks came from. 1920s, he returned to France, just like Alexander Selmer did, and manufactured mouthpieces using rubber rods. He didn't have access to the highest quality ones in production runs, and he died in the 1930s. But Charles Chedeville continued until World War II. A lot of information you need to go to this website. I'll put a link to it in the description. His factory produced other mouthpieces for Bethany, Buffet, Leroy, Robert, Mellophone, Barbier, and Cousinon. Well, this, people always say that the Buffet mouthpieces were Chedeville's, and this is the example right here. Chedeville made the earlier Buffet mouthpieces, which I actually have a couple right here, I think. The early ones. Actually, here's an early one. The emblem is long worn off. This is a Buffet mouthpiece. They got other more modern ones, but so here, they're talking about the rod rubber, the grade A rod rubber's ideal acoustic properties. In this case, I guess material does matter. I mean, I've been learning with like saxophone necks. If you look at the internal saxophone neck of good brands, you'll see it's not smooth, it's not hydroformed. There's a texture to it, and that texture helps with the sound production, the particular sound that you get from like Selmer Paris horns. 1949, the Chedeville Lelandais companies merged under the name Chedeville Lelandais with factories in Paris and Philadelphia, and produced blanks with Delacroix, Bonnet, Buffet, Yvette and Schaefer, Casper, amongst many others. But the blanks were different than the Golden Era models. Let's see, rubber changed over the years. Of course, World War II kind of interrupted things. Yeah, mouthpieces used to be done in a milling process, and then they're now created in a molding process. So that in itself made a large change in the quality and acoustic quality, I guess. I know they still do a lot of milling. When you get the metal mouthpieces, like saxophone mouthpieces, they're milled. You can't mold them. But interesting information. Throughout history, Chedeville Lelandais also made saxophone mouthpieces of varying degrees of success. Meyer Brothers came out of the Chedeville Lelandais factory in Philadelphia. I never knew that. Saxophones like Cannonball Adderley, Stone Stitt, Phil Woods, but of course it says here they're mostly associated with clarinet mouthpieces. In the early 70s, Gladden Company purchased the company, and the Chedeville Company reemerged into various owners. I know there's a I forgot the doctor who made oil, then he bought the Chedeville name and started making mouthpieces. And he was making his own rod rubber too. But anyways, I'll give a link to this down below to this website. It goes on to materials and manufacturing process, and this will give you a lot of information about it. And real quickly, this is Mr. Wodkowski's website. It's RamonWodkowski.com. I'm on the .blog portion of it. But he has a black letter mellophone here he shows. He's also on Facebook if you look him up. And he has more information about this particular mouthpiece. And one of the neat things here, this is a picture of Berciaux's machine circa 1912 that he has here. Or like a cranked hand cut the mouthpieces. Really quite cool. Anyways, go to his website. He also sells mouthpieces, as I said. He has a lot more information on this. But there's some quick information on the Lelandais mouthpieces. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. And we'll bring you more information about mouthpieces and other things clarinet and saxophones. We'll see you later.